Hello everybody, it's me, Granddaddy, and excuse my hair, it's a little crazy. Y'all can see I'm in the classroom because I'm finna learn you something. Now, as you can see from the side, it's gonna be down there somewhere, but some buttons to say subscribe, press it. A little bell, press it. Comments, type it. Now back to business. As you can see from this here title, talking about the horsepower wars and the current horsepower wars, and I'm gonna start. I'm just gonna go from where it was, how the modern horsepower war started, and the future that I see of the horsepower wars. Now, I'm no certified expert or nothing fancy like that, but I know a little something. So, like I said, I'm gonna just get right into it. So, we can say, and I'm gonna try to a certain degree, historically, keep it on the real, ain't even no quotes, it's the truth. The modern day muscle cars, for people, I can see why, because the technology they put in all these cars nowadays, but the original muscle cars that's still alive today, that's why I'm gonna take it back historically. So, basically, the original horsepower war strongly popped off in the 60s, 1960s. You got the cars we know and love now came out back then. So if I'm not mistaken, 63 Mustang came out, 66 Charger came out, 67 Camaro came out, and 70 Challenger came out. So like I said, those are the modern day muscle cars back then. When they came out, they was doing things that, you know, it was cars before that were doing these things, but it kind of revolutionized everything. You know, you got all the different Mustangs that's been out since then. GT350s, 500s, but back then, you know, it was making the numbers that these cars putting out back then, which, like I said, it was something like you go back, I think in the 50s, that the Chrysler 300, that was technically, people consider that like the first muscle car. Anyways, like I said, the 60s came along, shut everything down. We can essentially say that Ford, Mustang, that's when things really popped off strong. Charger came out 66, like I said, but it didn't start really doing the Dodge things that we like to know and love now until years, a little, they say more towards that second generation. They look similar, but when it was around about 69, 70, you know, then they made the Charger Daytona. That was a NASCAR specialty. That was killing everything. Camaro came out literally 67. They didn't really, I don't even know if people know that, but people love 69 Camaros. But anyway, Chevy made the Camaro to literally, well, GM, General Motors, to deliberately compete against the Mustang. So the horsepower war started then, and then people don't know this. 69, Chevy had the that's the first Camaro ZL1. If I'm not mistaken, it was the first Chevy, don't quote me, but I think that was the very first Chevy motor to have aluminum block and aluminum head, and I believe it was making 400 something horsepower. Now you gotta think, 400 something horsepower in 1960s, pushing 70s, and the average car probably making 200 something. 400 is still, despite what y'all want to say, 200 is still, 400 is still a lot now. Okay? Now granted, those cars were old school engines, of course, in the sense of carburetors and things like that. And they were older. The car itself, they're heavier. They're using old school parts, steel and heavy components on these cars. So of course it's gonna feel different, but still, in the sense of what the engine, what those cars were doing were different, you know. And it just all goes to show that back in the 60s, you know, they was building engines. They was building the original 427 engines. Ford had a back then, not necessarily in the 60s, but Ford ended up making a 427 motor. Chevy 454s, they got a Dodge, got a 427, you know. So all these engines and cars were putting out high power. I'm talking about putting down power, especially when cars was barely putting around. These cars putting out power, people was racing them, competing. Another thing, they was taking real life cars and put them in NASCAR. So to me, that's just another edge for the manufacturers to build the best. Like now, y'all know a NASCAR car is a NASCAR car. Back then, the same, almost the same Camaro or whatever car you may have, for example, a Charger, anything like that, it's the same one that Johnny down the street buying is the same one that they racing in NASCAR. So, enough of that. We're gonna fast forward to the modern day horsepower wars. Who started it, why it started, and how it started. The modern day horsepower war. Let me go back a little bit. Back a little bit. Okay. Throughout time, from the 60s and 70s until now, but especially since 1990s to 2000s, there have been powerful cars, lots of powerful cars, lots of fast cars. And I'm not talking about some of the extremes, but there's been a lot of cars that's been coming around that's been very powerful. However, everything changed. And this is when the modern day horsepower war started. 2015, what car came out? I'm give y'all time to think back. Hellcat. Not only was it one Hellcat, there were two. What car was that? I mean, what cars are that? Chevy, oh Jesus, granddaddy losing his mind. Charger and Challenger. Hellcat. How much horsepower they have? Wait for it. 707. There was no, and I mean, outside, I'm not talking about all the Lambos and Jambos and Ferraris and Bugattis and all that stuff. I'm talking about as far as pretty much American vehicles, the American vehicles that were widespread, mass-produced production of American cars, and specifically the muscle cars, more along the line. We'll say some sports cars. We even, just to sprinkle on top of there, Dodge Viper, Corvette, Z06 and ZR1. And that was the beginning. The C7 just came out in 14. The Z06 came out in 15 of the C7. But still, no car was making, American car, wasn't nobody making 700 horsepower, period, at all. No, wasn't none. That's just mass produced and everybody can get one, anybody can get one. So what that did, Dodge created the modern day horsepower war, because when they made the Hellcat, nobody else was doing that. Now let me go say something else. How the competition stacked up. Well, like I said, that was 2015. the current gen Mustang just came out, so it wasn't no GT350. There wasn't no GT500. Wasn't no Mach 1 version. Wasn't none of that. It was just, there wasn't no bullet. It was just V6, EcoBoost 4-cylinder, regular Coyote, which makes, I believe, 460 horsepower. Also, you got Chevy, which I believe in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, the Camaro ZL1 came out, which had 650 horsepower. And also, like I said, in 2015, Corvette ZL6 came out. I'm not going to focus too much on the Corvette because we know that's a different beast. However, I will say, people say, well, I'll say something else first. Since that time, I don't even say that within the last, since 15 to probably 2017 or 18, we all know Dodge been building bigger and better and more to their cars, to their Hellcat, to that platform. People say, why hasn't Chevy done that? Why haven't Chevy did that? What is Ford doing? Da, da, da. Ford kind of, why is Chevy not doing that? You got to understand, if I'm not mistaken, the 6th gen Camaro came out, if I'm not mistaken, in 2015. If it wasn't 15, 16. In 16, 17, the ZL1 came out. That means that let's just say they didn't know nothing at all, point blank period. They never knew of a Hellcat. They never knew that Dodge was going to drop this bomb. They didn't know nothing. Chevy, 9 times out of 10, and General Motors was producing this vehicle 4 years before it came out. So they at the time probably thinking, we going to kill the game. We making a 650 horsepower Camaro. They think they're going to drop a bomb, which it is, because although Hellcat's more powerful, they different. It's different. The power is different to a certain degree. But, however, when Hellcat came out, switched it up even more. Now, what's happened since then? As I stated, Dodge primarily has been continuing to raise the bar, change the bar, set a different standard. I won't go all the way out and say that they are the best. They are the number one. They are everything, depending on what somebody wants. However, when it comes to, I would say looks, because they added the wide body versions. 2018 Challenger, technically the first Challenger wide body was the Dodge Demon, which is a whole different beast. Then they made, 2018, you can get Challenger wide bodies, Scat Pack Hellcat. Then, in 2020, they got Charger wide bodies. So looks, of course, they have so many engines. We're not, just to throw it out, they still got the V6 engines, but you get a 5.7, which Horsepower Wars has exceeded that, because, 5.7 V8, Scat Pack 6.4 V8 / the 392, whatever you want to call it, 400. So 5.7, I believe, got about 370 something horsepower, if I'm not mistaken. Scat Pack 6.4 engine, 485. Regular Hellcat engine, which I will disclaimer, Charger Hellcat, regular Hellcat on Charger has 707, unless you have a Daytona version. But if you got a Charger Hellcat, it's going to have 707 horsepower. Currently, 19 plus with the dual snorkel hood, they got 717 horsepower. Then you have the Red Eye, 797 horsepower. Then you have the Super Stock which I think make 804 horsepower. And of course, the limited Dodge Demon, which made 840 horsepower. Chevy doesn't have those numbers. Dodge don't have those. I mean, Ford doesn't have those numbers. Now let me speak on how Dodge, as a manufacturer perspective, has dominated the horsepower war. Most of their vehicles are mass produced. Point blank period. Some are kind of limited, but they're not. For example, Dodge Demon, that was a limited production car. Charger Daytonas was limited production car. I don't even think the Super Stock is a limited production car. But all those Hellcats and Scat Packs and Red Eyes, you can get all those vehicles a dime a dozen. They out there. Chevy, let me speak on Chevy first. Now, Chevy, they don't have the numbers unless I would say specifically numbers to numbers comparison. A Corvette ZR1, 755 horsepower. Numbers alone, that's the only thing that's equivalent to what Dodge is producing. Like I said, I'm not here saying Dodge is the best. I'm just saying how they created, they, to a certain degree, control and have altered the horsepower war. So like I said, as far as numbers, Corvette ZR1 is the only thing that's really competing. The only difference between a Dodge and a Chevy, when we want to speak in the sense of horsepower wars, is one, the dynamics of the vehicles themselves. Now, what does that mean? We all know what a Hellcat does. What does that do? What does it do? You press the gas and you burn rubber. Point blank period. Wide body, standard body, nobody at all. You press a Hellcat, and even Scat Packs to a certain degree. You press the gas, you spin the tires. You go around the track, you better know how to drive. All that. The difference, and even Ford, but we're on Chevy right now. A Camaro ZL1, I won't say by far, but it's not as powerful as a Hellcat, none of that. The dynamics of the vehicle is different. That's why I said it drives different. The suspension, the chassis, they both got big brakes. But brakes, some, if I'm not mistaken, some ZL1, and don't quote me on that, but I know for a fact the ZL6, what I'm gonna touch on next, have carbon ceramic brakes. There's no such thing as a Dodge. Maybe a Viper did, but I don't even know about that. But there's no Dodge that's made now that has carbon ceramic brakes. None. So the difference is, although while Dodge has adjustable shocks and things like that, Chevy has one, magnetic ride control. They're building more race cars, more race inspired. That's why some people call a Camaro now a sport car. And it is not. That is a muscle car, point blank period. No matter how much technology, everything, I guess they are kind of to a certain degree trying to cross the sectors. A Camaro is a muscle car. The Challenger is a muscle car. A Charger is a muscle car. A Mustang is a muscle car. A Corvette is a sports car. A Dodge Viper is a sports car. A Ford GT, which is extreme case, is a sports car. It's almost past that. But, you know, it's a difference. For example, a Camaro versus a Corvette, which Corvette Z06 and Camaro Z01 have the same exact engine, LT4, 650 horsepower, 650 pound-feet torque. A Corvette Z06, both factory stock straight off the floor. A Z06 is faster than a Z01. It's a different car. It's a different beast. It's a sports car, not a muscle car. It's lighter. Some of the suspension components are different. They're using, everything is different. The seats might be lighter. Different of so many different things that make that vehicle different. It's a different beast. Speaking factory to factory. So, and of course, like I already said, the ZR1, but I'm not going to touch on that because it's different. You know what I'm saying? It's different. But I did say, numbers, they stack up to each other. Flipped on the flip side, Ford. I'm crazy. I will say this, though. I will say this. C8 Corvette, how Chevy kind of playing toward the horsepower wars and not at the same time is because C8 Corvettes, they don't have no stick shift. Now, why does that not have a stick shift in it? They focused on numbers, which does play toward the horsepower wars. Because the fastest numbers, the fastest lap time, the fastest drag time, automatic transmissions in 2021 are faster than the stick shift. A computer is a computer. It can shift faster than any human possibly can. Point blank, period. It's not as fun, but it's the truth. That's how they play into the horsepower wars. But they take some out at the same time. Now, like I said, I'm going to Ford. Ford, they got the Mustang. I'm going to focus on that because that's the muscle car. They got the Coyote. Don't quote me what year, 16, 17. 16, if I'm not mistaken, the GT350 came out. And I ain't going to go, I'm going to say it. I'm going to focus 17 plus. GT350s. Why? Because 17 plus GT350s they essentially all came with a track package. A 17 plus. A 16 GT350, although it got the motor things, which is a 5.2 Voodoo, flat plane crank, dual overhead cam. I can't think of the numbers. Like 526 horsepower, something like that. Which is not bigger than Scat Pack numbers. Scat Pack Charger Challenger 485 horsepower. But it's bigger than that. But it's not Hellcat numbers, okay? But the thing is, same thing like Chevy. A GT350, and I will almost say GT350, which is not as powerful as a Z01 by far, 650 to 526. But in the sense of what the vehicle is, Dodge is in the middle, left and right is different. Ford built that vehicle as a track car. And that is true. Although people highway race it, drag race it, you do whatever you want with your own car. But that is almost, I would almost say, this is what I'm putting, that's how I'm putting. A regular Camaro ZL1 is not the track car of a GT350. And also, at the same time, a ZL1 1LE is the more equivalent of a GT350. Why? Got all the spoilers, the downforce, the aero, the side skirts, the splitter. Both of them got that. You know what I'm saying? And even ZL1 1LE, upper of the ZL1, they got the GT350R, which I know it has no resonator in it. I guess it'll save a little weight. which means it's a little bit louder, and it has no back seat to save weight in it, which not as powerful as Hellcat, you know. But in the sense of the horsepower wars, this is how Ford play with it. Now let's take, I ain't gonna say let's say, let's look back, jump back to Chevy. Chevy, they don't have nothing after that. The fastest, most powerful Camaro and Extreme, let's go Extreme all the way up. You can get a 650 horsepower and torque Camaro ZL1 1LE, which is still a track car. Now, people race all the time, do drag race, street race, highway race, whatever race you want to race. But I will add, just to sprinkle some on there, this big spoiler from the ZL1 1LE is great for track because it creates downforce and stability. But if you're just going straight, I won't go fast, I can't straight down line. The spoiler creates downforce, it creates drag. No spoiler back there will be good, it will be better because there's no wind resistance, less wind resistance. Anyway, outside of that, ZL1 1LE fastest Camaro you can get. Ford Mustang, now let me say this first, opposite of Chevy and the C8. Let me not say it. Well, in this comparison I'm making, the GT350 only has a stick shift. Now, I like it. Most people like it. People who like that car and like the Mustang like that it's the stick shift only. Because we like that. We want that. You know, if they would have made that vehicle auto only, it might not have did what it did. It might not have filled that void that people want. However, let's up it. Now, this is how Ford, in a sense, is trampling on Chevy. Mustang, they have a GT350. Chevy's topped out. Chevy's topped out when it comes to the muscle car era. The Camaro, 650, ZL1 1LE. Mustang has the Mustang GT500. Now, as of this year or last year, there's no more GT350s, which I'm going to just say this. I don't understand why Ford stopped making a GT350 to in turn make a Mustang Mach 1, which is good in name and history and all that. But it has the regular 5.0 Coyote, which isn't a bad motor, but why would you stop making the track-inspired GT350 with the 5.2 Voodoo and stop that production and you bring in a Mach 1, which is great, like I said, in name and theory and history, but there's no more 5.2 Voodoo. You got 5.0 Coyote, which 460 horsepower compared to 526. I don't know why Ford themselves did not put the 5.2 Voodoo motor inside of the Mach 1. Who knows? I don't know. But anyways, GT500. I believe that vehicle has 760? Don't quote me, but I believe it's got 760 horsepower. So now, we're in Hellcat numbers. We're in, throw it in there, Corvette ZR1 numbers. We in that big 700 plus range, which this vehicle is not the most, it doesn't have as much power as the most powerful Dodge, but it's more than a regular Hellcat. Now, Ford, like I said, I'm gonna say it again, it's different from a Hellcat. Hellcat, you can track on whatever you want to do with your car, or somebody decide to do a car, what they want to do. But this Mustang is more, it's like an in-betweener. It's not as track-oriented as a GT350, but it's a good drag highway street car. It's also a good track car, which most people and what Dodge has kind of largely done has make those Dodge products, drag cars, highways, racing cars, no, they're not really track oriented. So, like I said, Ford made an in-betweener. You know, that's what you get. You get an in-betweener with the GT500. Now, how does this play into the horsepower award? Well, first off, it gives a person that loves a Mustang 700 plus gain confidence and the numbers and things like that. You know, it's a good car. Like I said, it's a good in-betweener. That's a good hit from Ford in the horsepower wars. Now, how does it take away? Well, like Chevy, and I'm gonna speak on all this in a minute, but like Chevy, that car is only automatic. You can't get a stick shift GT500. Now, I kind of thought this was weird, and like I said, it's to get the numbers. People want faster lap times and faster track times and this and that, which is true, but stick shifts are fun. People still like shifting gears. Not largely enough. Like, literally, it's 2021. 10 years ago, 2011, people were driving stick shifts more, and that's not that long ago. Before that, people were driving stick shifts way more. Why? A person, though many years ago, this will make even more, 2008, a person was shifting gears much faster than a computer in a transmission on a car. So people was loving stick shift. Boom, 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 boom. Shifting gears. Oh, I'm banging through the gears. You hear people say all the time, I'm banging through the gears. But now with modern technology, computers shift gears fast. Very, 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 very fast. And I have driven cars. Stick shifts have become fun. For actual numbers, people get automatics. And that's what Ford did. You only get that car in automatic. But, and to prove, let me turn the light back on. There you go. To prove it, my vet, C6. It's older. It's LS2. It's a 4-speed auto. The shifts are, let me put it like this. To someone who hasn't driven a lot of powerful cars, the shifts would feel like, dang, wow. But to knowing what I know and what I've driven, the shifts will only feel fast in that car. To someone who hasn't experienced hard and fast shifts, and to someone who, when you're hitting it, just because it's louder, it's faster, things like that, your mind may make you feel the shifts are faster and harder. It's not. The shifts are slow. I won't say slow, but they're of any regular car. And honestly, my mother's Acura, she probably shifts faster than the vet, and that's just honesty. But let me switch it up. I've driven Scat Packs, which on top of that, this is just like a standard. You can put them in sport mode, and it makes a difference. They shift fast. They shift fast, especially with paddle shifters. The vet don't even got paddle shifters, not my version. It shifts, the computer is shifting gears fast. It's literally shifts fast and hard. Let me give you another example. Camaro. Recently, check out my other video. I'm put it in the description. Camaro SS. 55 horsepower. Same amount of torque. Factory, all this Camaro had was a muffler lead. That car literally shifts hard, fast. The whole time I was driving that car, I did not even use the paddle shifters one time, not once. Why? It shifts fast. As, excuse my French, It shifts fast as HELL automatically. Times have changed. You don't need a stick shift. Now, like I said, I like stick shift still. It's fun. It's real fun. I love driving stick shift. As you've seen, if you watch my videos, stick shift supercharged Mustang 4.6 engine. That car was fun to drive with the stick shift. I love shifting through those gears. I loved it. And also, if I must be honest, to a certain degree, as long as everything's going smooth, automatics have more longevity, less parts to mess up. You don't gotta worry about changing clutch burning out, none of that. No, that's just another touch. Anyways, we spin back into the matter at hand, the horsepower war. So a lot of this I say to say that Dodge definitely started the horsepower wars and they're still dominating, but their cars are different. They make a lot of go fast, straight line cars, which they got cars that do. You can take, I don't want to say a red eye. It's too much horsepower. And I only say that because it needs to be a balance to a certain degree. But as I was saying, you could probably take a Challenger or even a Charger, regular Hellcat, wide body around the track and get great numbers. You're definitely going to get 9 times out of 10 better numbers than a regular SS, a Camaro SS. You're going to get better times than a 5.0 Coyote GT, Mustang GT. You're going to get better numbers than, of course, Scat Packs. Probably, some people debate that, but Scat Packs and, you know, RTs. That's straight up. However, but they still have controlled, maintained, and manipulated the horsepower wars because they are, I'm going to name, but they define the odds. Bigger motors, bigger motors, bigger motors. Chevy and Dodge, Chevy to a certain degree got left, I won't say got left, but left in the past when it comes to the Camaro, only because they have been building the car before they released it. They didn't know Dodge was going to make a Hellcat, so they thought they were the top dog. But that's not what the case is. Hellcat came out. But like I said, speaking on the track, Chevy Camaro Z01 LE is going to dominate a Hellcat just because it's a track-built car. You know, that's like saying, Granddaddy, you a fit man, but if you take me and take me somewhere like let's put this in perspective. I say, Granddaddy, you a fit man, but you take me to a shot put, like track and field event, and you got a big dude, he about 300 pounds, he's not fat, but he's more stocky than I am. I'm fit, I may look slim to some, but I'm not built to put out shot put better than that. And that's like the Dodge. Dodge can throw that shot put far. They getting all the records, they set numbers. However, if you take to the track, Camaro or Ford, and they say, let's run a 50-yard dash, let's run 400, whatever the case is, I can run faster than that. I can go, I'll beat them. I'll beat the shot put man because that's more what I'm built for. And that's like the horsepower wars now. The manufacturers are, you know, they competing, but to a certain degree, they still kind of on their own team. Now I'm gonna say how Dodge has maintained, and controlled the horsepower war. Now I'm gonna tell you, I know I said Hellcat 100,000 times in this video, and it sounds like I'm the biggest Dodge advocate, which Dodge is my favorite car manufacturer as a whole, but they're not perfect by far. No, they're not. But this is what they did. And I'm kind of opening up more outside of the muscle car range here. They built the Hellcat at 15. They got scat packs, naturally aspirated engines with almost 500 horsepower, 485 horsepower. They got Hellcats. They waited. What they do next? Let's make a wide body, Challenger wide body. So they got wider tires. And let's be real. Instead of having to change the dynamics of the engine, all these different shocks and suspension components and all this, they said, hey, we're going to take a little bit more metal, add it to the car, which actually is beautiful. Charger and Challenger wide bodies are beautiful. But we're just going to take a little metal, add some fender flares, and add wider rim and tires. Bam. Point for them. They didn't stop there. 2018 made the Dodge Demon, which was extreme because honestly, growing up and seeing a Dodge Demon come out, you don't think another vehicle like that is going to be made. You like, dang, 840 horsepower from a factory vehicle? You don't think that's going to happen again. But no, what did they do? Took the same motor from a Demon and detuned it. They made red eye. Challenger red eyes out now. While Camaro still is topped out at the ZL1. And of course, the Corvette ZL6 is out. And the Corvette ZR1. But at the same time, the ZR1 is a different ballgame. Point blank period. But still, red eye, it has 797 horsepower. That's still, numbers-wise, more powerful than a Corvette ZR1. And what else? It's less expensive. A 797 Challenger is less expensive than a Corvette ZR1 we're not talking about dealer markup, that's a whole different video. It's cheaper by a lot. A Corvette ZR1, you're going to spend at least $130. That's cheap. Well, you spend $150 plus, maybe. You can buy a red eye. Give me $80,000, $90,000. You pushing it at $100. Some of them $100 with dealer markup, but you can find some with no dealer markup. Not to mention Super Stock just came out. Not to mention Charger Daytona, which is the contribution to history. The Charger Daytona, which is, of course, is not as extreme as the original, I believe, 6970 Daytona, which was extreme. But still. Then they made a Charger Red Eye, a 4-door vehicle with 797 horsepower. No one's doing that. And then you got Ford. Now, let me just throw this out there, which I don't consider this car a part of horsepower wars at all. It's a different beast by a long shot. But the Ford GT, has a little engine, a twin turbo V6, but it's fast. It's very, very fast. But that car is that car is built for different. But they got the GT500. It's keeping up with numbers, but more of a trackier than a Dodge product. Not also to mention the death of the, Dodge Viper, which was a V10, which had that vehicle had the largest displacement engine, 8.4 liter V10, which the ACR version, as I said in one of these before, I believe had the the 5th fastest Nürburgring lap time. A Dodge product. So that's still, they sport car more, but it's still contributing to the horsepower war to a certain degree. Now, let me briefly speak on the future of what I predict of the horsepower wars. Now let's start with GM as a whole. Not as a whole, but as a whole. They made a new Hummer. It's expensive as all get out. They make it electric. Cadillac has already announced They going all electric. Chevy itself hasn't said much. Of course, Chevy both been out forever, but I say all that to say Chevy, GM, Cadillac, these are all General Motors. I meant to say GMC. GMC is making the new Hummer. These are all General Motors products, and they're shifting electric. They have boldly stated, we're going electric, especially Cadillac. They said we are in the progress of shifting everything to electric. A new Hummer came out, which, like I just said, but that used to be the damn near the most gas guzzling car period you can buy. They made a new one and it's all electric. Flip on the other side. In a sense of efficiency, Ford has been largely producing their EcoBoost engines, the EcoBoost, twin turbo V6. They got 2.7 liter one, they got 3.5 liter one. They got EcoBoost all day every day. Just using turbos, smaller displacement, smaller engines, more efficient. They using turbos and things like that. Now they got an F-150 EcoBoost with a hybrid in it. They're making that shift. They're going slightly more electric by day, but they're definitely going smaller displacement, kicking out V8s, putting V6s in. They don't make no Expedition, no Navigator, none of that with V8. It's all V6. All of it's V6. Whether you want the new F-150 hybrid V6 EcoBoost, they all got twin turbo V6s. Some of the F-150 even got four-cylinder turbo engine. They're making a shell. But what is the difference between Dodge and they're fighting to the last blow in this war? They've made some. Now, Stellantis, whatever the new name is, if I'm pronouncing wrong, I'm sorry. But FCA, I'm going to say it for the layman's term. FCA, Fiat Chrysler Association, whatever it stands for, FCA. They're fighting. Now they have Jeep. They have announced Jeep with a electric Jeep Wrangler. I think it's a hybrid system. Jeep Wrangler. That's good. They got a Chrysler Pacifica. They already got V6, but now they're coming with hybrid version. They have a hybrid version. On the flip side, they're making the Scat Pack engine Jeep Wrangler. It drinks hella gas, powerful. They've taken the blow in the war. Not to mention all the Hellcats they got Hellcats for days, drinking gas. I think they said a red eye. I can't remember if it was red eye or demon, but something about basically if you drive it at top speed for like a certain time frame, like 10 minutes, the whole tank gas will be gone. Also, not to mention, which I just seen for the first time in real life on Sunday, a Ram TRX has they made a Hellcat pickup truck and it's an off-roading truck. You can't even get now Ford's rumors that Ford is gonna make a V8, Ford Raptor truck, a V8 Ford Raptor truck, but it's only coming V6 of now. The new one. They released the new one, still got V6. Ram said, no, we gotta put a Hellcat motor in there. And although I believe, I can't remember the exact numbers.
I'm sorry, y'all. Granddaddy, my phone died yesterday. I'm back again, though. It's a new day. I'm sitting in the car, 1,000 horsepower Buick. But to continue on from what I was saying yesterday, I think the Ram Hellcat truck had 702 or 3 horsepower, 702 or 703 horsepower. So the moral of the story is that Dodge has started and maintained and controlled the horsepower war since 2015. Chevy has been doing mediocre in the sense that the ZR1 is a powerful car, but it's not as powerful as a Hellcat. It's not as popular as a Hellcat. Camaro sales have gone down over the years, while Challengers and Chargers have had the same body style since over 10 years ago, and they selling more and more and more and more and more. Corvette has the numbers, but that's a different beast. So it's still part of the horsepower wars, but in a muscle car sense of, and you know, what people buying more and more, you know, favorite to it, it just ain't it. It's a different thing. And on top of that, speaking on the future of things, they've already waved their white flag because they're going electric. They've said it. General Motors is going electric. 5-6 years from now, everything electric on GM. Let's flip the script onto the other side. Ford. They got some powerful cars. Shelby GT500, GT350, excuse me. To be extremely extreme, Ford GT, but at the same time, all this time, years and years and years, they've also been making mass-produced, smaller, turbocharged V6 and 4-cylinder engines. They have already made, long time ago, made progressions and steps towards efficiencies, smaller turbos, and things like that. So, you know, how long could it be before a company that's already going towards the efficient, smaller engine route finally really just say, we're going to go electric? Because they're already at a sense of, we do small engines, largely. Our pickup trucks and SUVs have the smaller engine. Powerful, I grant it, somewhat powerful. Ford Raptor truck, V6, twin turbo, but it's powerful, 450 horsepower. That's more than 6.2 liter Yukon Denali has V8, but still towards efficiency. It's still towards, that's like guys use the word efficiency. Efficient. Navigator, 450 horsepower, you know? So, how much longer before they switch up? And as I stated, Dodge in the middle, they fight into the end. And as I will predict, they're going to win the horsepower wars in the sense of I believe they're just going to keep making V8s to the end. Now, you know, it's been some rumors and things about the truth or rumor, whatever the case is, the SRT team, which if you don't know, SRT makes all the Hellcats and this and that. Used to make Dodge Neon SRT4. Remember before it was 392, they was called SRT8s. That stands for Street Racing and Technology. That's the team from Dodge and Mopar that makes the Performer. That's what they specialize in. The rumors of them being dismantled, coming back, or they're not really dismantled, they just got rid of the branch, but they still make, whatever the case is. Then there's rumors of them making new Charger, new Challenger designs. Who knows? They might say, we'll put a little hybrid system or like the Ram trucks, you can get the mild hybrid system, which actually puts a battery instead of the alternator on the 5.7 Hemi in the Ram truck. They might make full hybrid systems. They might make an electric one and get rid of certain engines. Who knows? But from the way their track record at Dodge, FCA, Stellantis, they're going to make big engines. They're going to make power. They're going to make Hellcat 6.2 liters, 6.4 liter engines, 5.7. And they're essentially going to win because they're going to have the point where they say, we're going to stop when we want to stop. Why? Because their numbers keep going up. Their sales keep going up. The price points they have, people buying their cars left and right to where they don't have to do nothing. And they're not going to do nothing until they're ready. Point blank, period. Now, I know this video long, but I want to thank everybody for watching. Don't text and drive. Don't phone and drive. Don't drink and drive. Period. Put the phone down till you get home. Then call granddaddy on the phone. Don't smoke and drive neither. Good Lord. Always put the Lord first. Say your prayers. Tuck your kids in at night. Tuck your grandkids in at night. Because I love my grandchildren. And just thank y'all for if you stuck around this long. Thank you. Granddaddy out. I love y'all.